What's happening, YouTubes? Vector here, back again. We're on the Magna this time. And got an interesting video for you today. Got a little two-parter in one. A little split topic. So the first half, we're heading over to kind of another bike meet, kind of not. So we're heading down to Callington now. There's a tea room here called Lewis Tea Rooms. And I think it's every first Sunday, there's a great big bike meet there. Like loads and loads of people, like from the way I've seen in pictures and where it's been described, it's like turn up with a flask because you're going to be there for a couple of hours boxed in by all the rest of the bikes. Like it's a big old meet. That's not the Sunday it is today, but from the signs of it, bikers just turn up every Sunday anyway in sort of lesser numbers. So we're heading along to there. I don't know, timing wise, I think we're a little late in the morning, so I don't know how many people will be there. Hopefully some still. Potentially going to be seeing the guy I was chatting to at yesterday's bike meet, which was, yes, that's a Smart 4.2 lifted with bigger wheels. That is sick. That is so cool. Okay, I like that guy a lot. That guy's cool. What was I saying? Yeah, yesterday's bike meet, which was the Hilltop Farm Shop Cafe meet, which would have been last week's video, assuming they all got it in the right order. There was a guy I was chatting to there, but who mentioned he was going to come today. I think he was coming earlier in the morning, so whether he will still be there is another matter, but we'll see. Hopefully he will. So that's the first half of the video. Go and see some bikes, hopefully. The second half is I want to go and check out another old structure. And before you all tune off and go, oh my god, open my visor slightly because I'm fogging. Yeah, before you all tune off and go, oh my god, is he pulling over to look at another cow shed or another, another like 80s bungalow? No, this one's a proper old one. This one is a Neolithic Quoit. We're going down to Trethevy, I think it is. Trethevy Quoit, which is a 2,500-year-old Neolithic quoit. A quoit being a kind of collection of standing stones with a topper over it. We'll get onto that in a minute. It's a place I've wanted to go for ages. It's close to the area I'd ride in anyway. I've just happened to have not gone down the roads, but you'll see a lot of familiar roads on the way over there. And it just looks cool. It just looks really cool. And I want to go check it out. So that's going to be the second half. If you're only interested in that, or if you're only interested in the bike meet, there will be chapters below the video, as there usually are with mine. So if there's only a particular part of the video you fancy, skip straight to that, and then save something to scrub through or click off. Aren't I a helpful creator? But yeah, we're going to ride along now. We're going to check out this bike meet and go from there. Bike meet wise, this is the third meet I've gone to this year, which is actually it's actually less than I was going to last time. I was really, I don't want to say prolific, but I went to more or less every local bike meet at least once last year. Some of them quite regularly. I'm probably not going to go to as many this year, but it's nice to go along to some of them. I had a really good time at the Hilltop one yesterday. We did Kobe's Cafe before that, and then this one technically a bike meet up rather than a bike meet, but this one today. There are a few more on the calendar. Hilltop's moving back to evenings, Thursday evenings, along with every other sodding bike meet in East Cornwall. So they're going back to their summer hours, which is actually quite inconvenient for me because it means instead of being able to pop down on a weekend, I now have to go after work, and by the time I'm done with work and get over there, it's 6 o'clock, realistically, which is sunset. It is it's sunny now, but it is still March. It ain't summer yet, so I probably won't go to another Hilltop meet for a little while, just because they're going to be too inconvenient to get to and too cold to get back from. I know it's just no one wants to ride back in the dark and cold, really. So we've got those coming up. The Kobe's meet, they did really well. They had a really good turnout, so they're doing those on the regular. I think they're doing those once a month. And they're going to be on Sundays still, which is ideal because there's not a great deal around on Sundays, so other than the one I'm going to today. So I'll definitely be checking those out in the future. Bearded Brewery has they got their first meet of the year coming up soon. I did manage to get along to that one last year, so I might have to see about that one. I kind of like Project 83 in Newquay. It's a little bit of a trek for me. Like, it's not that far, but it's like an hour and a bit, hour and a half, depending if I take a nicer route, which I don't tend to just go down the A30. I go slightly more interesting ways. So again, like that one being an evening meet is a bit of a ball ache, because I either have to try and flex my entire week around in order to finish early enough on the Thursday to get out the door by like 4 in order to get to the meet. That'd have been ridiculous. So it's not as ideal, but might try to get onto that one. Plymouth bike nights, they're kicking off again soon. Again, they're a weekday evening, so it'll be a while before they kick off, because you really need daylight hours to be longer for those to be worth it. But there's those at some point soon. So yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely. The community's defrosting, thawing out, and we are slowly remembering that we're bikers, and it's a good turnout. It's like people are keen to be getting out and getting going, even though, like I say, it is still cold. I'm wearing my leather jacket today, but you might know I'm wearing my black leather jacket instead of my yellow one. That's because I need to fit a hoodie under it, because it's still cold. So we aren't there yet, but it's coming. It is coming. Oh, and biker pics are back as well. I mentioned in one of my recent videos that the company's revived, been bought out. Their first Dartmoor shoot post revival is, I think, next month. It's on my calendar, so that will be great. I'm going to get along to that, because like I was saying before, I want to get a photo of this bike. Now it's got the yellow like fairing, and now I've got my yellow jacket, and it'll be a nicer photo than the one I did before. So I'd like to, yeah, try and get along to that. That'll be really cool. We're almost at this tea room now, so we're coming along. This is the loop from, I think it's Kelly Bray that we just came through, which is like just above Callington. They're basically the same town realistically, but they sort of merged over time. But we're heading along this loop here. This is, if you've seen me doing my filming up at Kit Hill for like bike reveals and stuff, this is Kit Hill we're looping around here, and that's where we're going effectively. So yeah, this is our turning here. We basically go up towards Kit Hill, but then instead of turning like into the Kit Hill itself, like the actual final approach, we go past that, and then towards the end we come to the tea rooms. So yeah, I say I don't know how many people go. I might get there as an empty car park, you know. We are probably pushing 12 at this point. Beautiful views though. Look at this, all the way down Tamar Valley there. You can see the gap between this headland there, that's Plymouth. All the way over there, and the two little, you won't be able to see on camera, but the two little nubs sticking up the Tamar Bridge. So it's a lovely little spot, this hill overlooking the world. Come on, darling. I see a blue ER5. I think my friend's here. I'm going to loop around. Oh, a little moggy as well. That's nice. Yeah, we'll go right here. Get a nice photo. Lovely. You can see it's a great spot. Looking out over the hills there. Lovely. So yeah, I've got another Triumph. Got the old Himalayan. Same era as the one I'm borrowing. Nice little Repsol Fireblade. These are cool. Moto Marini X Cape. They're supposed to be quite good bikes. Got a Fireblade. There's my friend's ER5. That's the new GB350. Very nice. That's nice. Old XS 650. They're very nice. I love that era of bike. The simplicity of them. Aged very nicely. Oh, beautiful. That's so cool. What was that? 125? Oh, it's the R7. Really? That is tiny. This is based on MT-07, isn't it? Interceptor. Got a modern stuff, got a Triumphs. This is cool. Old BSA. Oh look. Semi-custom job. Leaking like a bugger, of course, but you know, standard. Big old trike, Hardy. That's cool. Triumph, what they call it, the Grump. Nice. Springer front end, like telelever front end. That's so cool. Is this Ural? I think it might be. I don't know what that is, but it's cool. It's old. The old monkey, the obligatory monkey. That's cool. It's nice seeing these that as much as I love cafe races and stuff, it's nice seeing this that haven't been chopped up yet. Lovely. And it's the one stuff as well. Well, I'm going to helmet off and I'll catch you guys in a bit. And that was the little lowest meet, unofficial meet. That was lovely. So again, I got there fairly late. I think there were more bikes there early on, but still had a lovely time. Chatted to my friend was there from last meet, which was nice. We met up with him and chatted to him and his friend Mark, I think he said. It was on a Moto Merini 650, the one I was next to, if you saw the picture in the thumbnail. And that was a lovely bike, actually. Again, one of those bikes where everyone really likes it, and they're really good bikes, but they still get a bunch of stick just from sort of prejudice. But actually, as a bike, they're really good. And the thing I like about that meet, and meets in general that these I go to, is they're so varied. I said this to Darren slash Derek, whatever his name was. I said it to him, is that like they're so varied. Like, it's not just sports bikes, it's not just Harleys, it's everything. You've got like old pre-war British stuff, and then right next to it is like a Ducati or, you know, modern street treble, and it's such a good vibe, and just people, you know, walking around, rubbing shoulders, chatting. So I chatted to them for a while. They headed off. They actually did invite me up. He's gone up to Boscastle to see another one of his friends. He did invite me along to that, which I was tempted to, but I thought, no, I'm going to keep it local today, and I still want to get over to my Quiot, which is where we're off to now. So we're going to head over there. It's not far. We're dipping through into Callington, and then we're going to head across and dip up towards the Quiot, and then I'll probably come back maybe via Minions, somewhere like that. I did a little bit of research on this Quiot. Actually, I didn't do enough. I'm going to have to read off my phone when we get there. I think there's a information stand. But really, the guy that we need is this guy I've interacted with a few times, and I met him when I did the Right to Rome video at the Roche Rock ruin, but the lack of access there. But it's this guy called Connor. He's on Instagram. He's Folktographic. Hit him up if you're on there. Really, really good photographer. He does loads of like street photography and like landscape stuff, people, and just all sorts of stuff. But the reason I bring him up now is because he's also a real like depth of knowledge, you know, he's got a real passion for folk, Cornish folk, and like the history of Cornwall and the landscape and all of these folk practices. He's really active in the folk community down here. He goes to all of the big sort of folk events and follows the osses around and follows the Morris dancers and all those sort of dancers groups around, takes photos for them. So really knowledgeable guy, really interesting guy. He unfortunately he's American, which is somewhat embarrassing for the state of British folk, where the guy that I recommended is a bloody Yank. But he is a nice one, he's one of the good ones, and so we just shouldn't hold that against him too much. But he's really knowledgeable, he's really good. Actually, I'd like to get him to do long format content like this. I did mess it a while back, I don't think he saw it. His wife I think she's been ill. I didn't quite get the full picture, I didn't want to pry, but I think she's been quite ill and is doing better now, so I didn't want to he's been somewhat distracted. But I don't know, he's so interesting. He rides a Honda Cub, like a modern 125 Super Cub, and he rides it properly. Like he had a scooter before it, which is written off an accident, but he took that all the way up to Wales on a 125 scooter. He does long, because he's American, he's distance riding and driving is less of a mindset shift for him than it is for sometimes us in the British. So yeah, he done that, and he rides his Cub around. And I really want him to start making motovlogs on YouTube, where like he rides the Cub to some ancient stone, or you know, some like burial mound or something, rides there and then walks up to it, tells you all about it, does a little bit of information about it, and then rides back again. And I think that'll be such an interesting content. He hasn't done it yet, I don't know. But if you like that sort of thing, if you like a bit of folk and history, and you're on Instagram, go and message him, bully him into doing something like that. Tell him I sent him a DM a while back, and he should he should do it. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have him with me today, so I'm gonna have to rely on Google. I think there's I've got the English Heritage website saved, assuming I have signal there, which we'll see how that goes. But it looks really cool. From what I see, it's a Neolithic, well, it's a monument. We don't quite know what its purpose was, so I don't want to call it anything else really. There are associations with dead around it. I think there've been some discoveries of like burial artifacts, but it's not necessarily a tomb. It might be like, maybe they laid the body up there for a while, almost like a sort of, like an open casket wake kind of like vibe. And then like there's some other ceremonies around it, and maybe it's like a sort of meditation and a praying and like a spiritual spot. The fact of the matter is, we don't know. There's so much of history has just been lost to us, and this is obviously ancient history, pre-written history. We'll see what we can find, really. But it's so interesting when you think about like the sort of the pyramid of people that has led from you now to the people who lived here before, and how different their lives were walking the same landscape. And you know, one of the good things about folk, one of the reasons folk is so important, and it's not something I keep up on myself, which is I need to do better with, but it's the reason we need to be so proud of these traditions is because they connect us to these people who've lived before us. And not in some like spiritual kind of way, because I'm not a spiritual kind of guy, but it's just in terms of history, in terms of like a shared Christ. Should have taken the Hemi for this road. Yeah, in terms of like the shared history of this landscape, and you can picture this landscape before the houses, before the fields, because it would have been forests back then. It would have been forest or open moorland. We've all been living in the same spot and walking the same land under the same sky, and there's a lot to be learnt from that connection, I think, and just being sort of mindful that we are just links in a chain. That inspires you then to take better care of our landscape. Like this is why we need the connection. This is why, you know, Right to Roam people are fighting, for example, the Dartmoor wild camping ban and the access bans, and the fact that we only have access in this country to 8% of our own country, and all the rest is no public right of way. And even the 8%, there's loads of that we can't get to. There's, you know, what's called as access islands, where yes, the land is common access, you are allowed to be on it, but you have to trespass to get to it, because it's surrounded on all sides by private land. So even the 8% isn't a real 8%. And then there's other issues, like even the lower your income, the further away from your own land you are, and the further distance you have to go to get that connection, and that also then disproportionately affects people of certain races and ethnicities, and then they lose that connection as well. And it's, yeah, there's a whole conversation, not one I'm going to try and shove into this video because it's far too big and I don't know enough about it all, but having that connection and having that pride in your land, and being able to stand somewhere and just go, this is mine, I live here, this is my land. That's how you make people care for the landscape. That's how you make people stop littering or collect litter when they go places, and care for the landscape, not piss around with it and start fires and trash the place just for the sake of trashing it. It's like you need it to feel like people's own garden, and that's how you make them love it. And if they love it, they take care of it. And things like this are all part and parcel of that, because again, like, you need to remember we are a temporary custodian of these places and these spaces, and we need to make sure that it's still here in another 2,000 years for people to enjoy. It's all about connection, right? It's all about connection and respect for the landscape. Again, this monument is just kind of like, it's in the middle of nowhere next to some roads, because like the world is built up around it since it was created. It would have been in an isolated piece of barren moorland back when it was first made, and it's very much been swallowed up. A bit like when I mentioned Roche Rock there, like the Roche Rock Chapel on the top of there, and that whole thing would have been just this like monument surrounded by nothingness back in the day. And now you've got housing estates on both sides, and you've got a caravan park below it, and you've got these massive, there's a big row of like hills behind it which weren't even there before, because they're not real hills, they're quarry spoiled tips. So they're not even like actual, you know, they shouldn't be there. The landscape itself has physically changed since these places were created. It's mad to think about, really. I mean, we're fortunate that that this monument is one that we have access to. It is on public land now, I believe, unfortunately, but it's like we still have access to it. There's quite a lot of these monuments, and actually something, again, Right to Rome are working towards is a lot of these monuments no longer have access to, because, you know, the private landowner has bought the entire land in that area, which happens to include this monument, and or this, you know, ancient standing stone, or this barrow, or whatever it might be, and then they just don't let people go up there because they're pricks. And like, it's literally taken our history away from us, taken our own connection to our, you know, to our ancestors. If your family's from the area, literally to your ancestors, even if you're not, to like ancestors in general, to humanity's past. But this one's a positive. This one's available. There is a free little car park next to it. Alright, we're down here somewhere, I believe. But this is us. We are here. So we'll tuck into this little car park just on the side here, and then we'll see what we're saying. I'll go at the bottom one, shall I? Again, we're out of season, so I don't feel too bad about taking a car spot. In season, I'd actually probably park on the grass, because it's more respectful to not take a car space with a bike if you don't have to. You know what I mean? And you might just see over the hedge there. Pointed up. Let me just rearrange this slightly, and I'll get back to you. Right, quick glove swap because it is cold. Again, obligatory apology for breathing, because, you know, as mentioned before, automatic mic seconds, it's not ideal. But yeah, here we are. This is the car park, and up here, Trethevy Quoit. Lovely little area, just a little hamlet, like there's nothing else here. But just, you know, very unassuming. If I pull my beard out of my Velcro here, but just around the corner, here we are. So we'll step up here. And this is the Quoit. This is I can't begin to describe how big these stones are. I think I read the top stone is 20 tons. I might be wrong about that. But here it is. So you can see it's just a structure, a shelter. Big old slab in the middle. Slabs all round. These are so heavy. Like there's such big lumps of rock. This would be a really annoying thing to make even now with like modern cranes and stuff. And people dragged this here by hand. And like winched that on top or climbed up, and you can see there's holes in it. Like, were there stones through that? Were there ropes through that? Was there more to it? Was this a chamber at one point? It's incredible, really. Let me get my phone out. I can give you some info. Okay, so here we are. So this is the history of Trethevy Quoit. It's a particularly well preserved example of a portal dolmen, a type of monument once common in Cornwall, and dating to the early or middle part of the Neolithic period, around 3,500 to 2,500 BC. So I've misquoted on the way over. It's not 2,500 years ago. It's 2,500 years before Christ. So it's 4,500 to 5,500 years old, which is unbelievable. Like, picture your life. If you're 50, to make it convenient, like, imagine 100 of your lives. It's unreal. Yeah, it's far from something that these were structures were tombs rather than multi-purpose shrines. The presence of the dead is no guarantee of original usage, as shown by medieval churches which contain tombs and are surrounded by graves. So yeah, we're basically just saying we don't know what the original purpose was. We do find remains in them. I don't know if there's remains in this one or just in general, these like quoits and these what they call them, portal dolmen. So I think the dolmen is the structure. It's portal if it's front open, I think is how those work. And yeah, we don't know whether it's burial, whether it's worship. The huge capstone here weighs 20 tons and it's a considerable feat of engineering. They think the stone is actually at a much steeper angle now, they're saying. So the original capstone, they probably bits have shifted or sunk, so actually it would have been a shallower angle, and it's now come down a bit. There's the hole which I mentioned. That's the right on this bit. This hole at the top here, which I'm looking straight to the sun, so you won't just see dick all there. But that hole, which appears to be man-made from the way it's positioned and so on, and the whole structure is 9 feet 2.7 meters high. I was probably originally covered by a mine or cairn, so that's really interesting. So the contents of this chamber were removed a while ago, blah 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, so they're saying that originally this would probably have been a buried structure, like the stones would have been there and then it would have been just a hill of dirt which has since either been removed, maybe it's eroded away, maybe it's been excavated. But that's so interesting. Like I say, I'm 5'11". I could almost walk into this with a helmet on without ducking. Like, it's such a big structure. And if you're in here, I mean, you could very easily see how this would be a place of to sit and relax. It's shelter out of the elements, but it's like you could do all sorts of ceremonies and interactions and meditations and connections in here. You think if maybe there was a body in here, you know, maybe you're in here spending time with the deceased, mourning, grieving, who knows. Ultimately we'll probably never know because it is so long ago. Like, we'll never be able to go back and see, you know. But what a beautiful thing, what a beautiful thing. So yeah, that is Trethevy Quoit. It is 4.5 to 5,000 years old. It's just cool, it's just interesting. I'll link that page in the description if you want to do some more reading. There's a further reading link at the bottom, and also if you want to visit, obviously it will link and tell you where it is. Yeah, and you can imagine, like, before the town, before these houses here, how this would have just been open hillside, forest, moorland, who knows, like scrubland. Before the agriculture came, before the livestock. When I was a kid, I had the Stig of the Dump audiobook. I think it was Tony Robinson read that. I really liked that whole bit at the end where they go back to see Stig's people and they move the stones by roping them and dragging them along, walking them along. I think some people reenacted in the Easter Island heads. They reenacted how it'd be possible to move them with ropes by like walking them, like you tip it on one edge and then you twist it and pull it and literally like walk the stone along. And in that way you don't have to keep flipping, you don't have to keep lifting it, you just get it on its end and you can walk it across the landscape. Still an incredible achievement. So anyway, I'm going to leave the video here. I'm going to hang out for a bit, take some photos, chill out, read a book, you know, soak in. But I'll leave that on here. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Like I say, if you're on Instagram, go and bully Connor, make him do some long format content, make him do some like spoken storytelling, even on Instagram, like make some reels of just sitting down telling stories, do something. And if you like folk photography, you like Cornwall's history, you like all that stuff, follow his account, Folktographic, yeah, and it'll be in the description. Give him some love, he's a good person. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.